So welcome to our third session of the Masterclass, which is titled Take Back the Power of Your Life to Yourself. And that's what you want to do if you are interested in creating the life that you want. And the advantage of this third session is that it is the icing on the cake, and what it will do is give you a very, very clear idea of what is also possible. We're going to go to the real high-end faculties as we proceed through and sum everything up for you. So now let's begin with the culmination of real personal development. And what you have to do, what you're required to do to access the ultimate state is these 4 actions. And the first one is to create a far better life. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be saying to yourself, I want to create a far better life. I want to have improvements in whatever areas it is that you're interested in. You have to be very focused on that. You don't want to be waiting to see what happens. This is a big mistake many people make. See if I'm lucky and things will come my way. No, but what you want to do is to also, in order to be able to do that, is repair the damage of the past. So you look and you think, what is it that's happened to me in my past that has caused some sort of closing down, wounding, whatever it might be? And it's necessary in order to do that to be able to unlock your dormant extrasensory powers. And I'm going to give you some of these, and these powers are in fact very straightforward to understand, but we don't use them. We sort of have, little bits of them, and when we do that, have those little bits, then you find that things come your way a little more easily in the beginning. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that what you do is you cause yourself to make some real strong decisions about your life, that what you can do with that is actually live those decisions out. You don't want to be in a situation where you're just in reaction. You really want to avoid that. And the only way that you can do that is by literally realizing your true self. This is the important thing. You realize your true self, and when you realize your true self, then you know that you've got something very special in there that you haven't actually looked at very much before. Nobody really knows what their true self is, simply because it's not in our culture, and if it's not in our culture, then of course it doesn't actually take place. And if it doesn't take place, then what you want to do is to make sure it does take place by revving up what's inside you. You see, this is the important thing. To rev up what's inside you is something that will be extremely results oriented. It will give you lots and lots of results. It really will give you quite an extraordinary number of results. And when you get those results, then what you want to do is actually use those results in a practical sense. So the reality, the result of doing all those 4, creating a far better life deliberately, repairing the damage of the past, unlocking your dormant extrasensory powers, which we'll cover well shortly, and realizing your true self and its purpose. You do these, you will then become a person who is someone purely by their presence can uplift other people. Now this might seem remarkable to you. It's not just being a jocular kind of friendly person. This is something quite different. You don't even have to express yourself in any way for people to feel the effect of this, simply because people are very responsive to these kinds of things, and it is very important that, knowing that, then what you find is that you can far more easily create the life you want. So you have this emanation, you have this atmosphere, you have this sense of presence. People don't know necessarily what it is. They just feel better, they feel uplifted, they become happier, more laughter filled, and these kinds of things happen to you simply because you are in touch with what is the most important thing in life, which is, of course, your higher nature. And when you're in a higher nature, so are those around you. And you may also find that a lot of people, when you're in a higher state, actually start to feel slightly uncomfortable in the beginning because their negativity is being flushed out of them purely by your presence. And if you couple that ever-increasing presence or atmosphere that you have with all sorts of other things that are going to come along with this, as you'll see, then you find you have access to the higher or unused potentials that are within you, and then life really begins. See, until you get in touch with these things, these natural self-attributes, you're moseying along. You're paying the mortgage, you're earning your living, in other words, you're having the mundane experiences, have a few leisure activities, this sort of thing. But the reality is that unless you go for the pure gold, the golden fleece as it's called, which is the inner self, the higher nature, everything becomes rather dull. This is the unfortunate thing. I've known lots of people who've had everything in life, great families, tons of money, huge success and fame. Hasn't worked. It can't work because it's something else, as you'll see, that you need. So the only way to do this, to become permanently inspired and profoundly improve your life, is by turning your attention inwards so that you can develop inner freedom, because your mind squashes up like a paper bag that's been blown up and then deflated. It sort of goes down to a little tiny thing, and then along with that comes all sorts of inadequacies that you experience. You don't realize they're within you. You don't realize it's to do with an energetic activity that you are unconsciously, of course, playing out. You're not deliberately doing it, and people don't realize that they've got to look within to reinflate that energy system. That's really what it gets down to. So you have within you these extraordinary powers, and the reality is that if you want to access them, you need to turn your attention within to that inner freedom. They were latent when you were born, but the upbringing, the events of life have undermined you. So they're not dead, they're still there, they're just undermined. And what is not understood by the mass of humanity and the educational authorities is that your life comes from the inside out. It's not something that you're moving along through life and there it is, the outside in. It's the inside out. And so let's look at living from the inside out, and it's absolutely essential, as you will see. Now, looking from the inside out is that, first of all, most people are unaware of their state of consciousness. They don't know they have a state of consciousness. They don't know what it is, don't know what it means. But ordinary consciousness, people who say, oh yes, I'm conscious, I'm aware, I'm awake, I'm sort of going through life, moseying along through life. Ordinary consciousness means no self-consciousness. You are living from the subconscious mostly, as a total automaton. You're a person who's like a robot, just living out the patterns of the past. In other words, you're in reaction, not action. That's a very, very important part. You need to become an actor on the stage of life, as Shakespeare told us. You must become an actor. In other words, you must consciously and deliberately be doing something in pursuit of an aim or a goal in some way. You must be expressing yourself in some way. So that's how you get out of that one. We'll go through all the ways as we proceed. The second stage is personality consciousness, or the personal mind. And living in that personality consciousness where you have some knowledge of yourself, you're able to talk about yourself or examine your behaviors in some way or another. Living from personality consciousness gives challenges and confusion, uncertainty and negative emotion. There can be some success in life, in fact, sometimes quite a lot of material success, if that's been your conditioning. But the reality is there's always that nagging feeling there must be more to life than this. You know something's lacking, something's missing, and you just want it. So that's the vast majority of people are living in personality conscious. They've got a bit of consciousness. In other words, they are awake much of the time even, but they are missing the big game. And what's the third one? Super consciousness. And super consciousness, to be in the super conscious, is the highest experience of life, where you merge with the life intelligence itself. And when you do that, you get amazing experiences and tremendous gifts. I'm going to give you the way to do that as we go through in this session. So you will benefit most in this. If you find this hard to do, you find your mind wanders, you forget, you can't stick to things, you procrastinate, you want something, etc., then you'll benefit by reminding. See the word, take off the re, it's re-minding, so it's something to do with the mind. Reminding yourself on a daily, if not an hourly basis, that your life is created by what you hold in your mind. That's really, really important. And the greatest secret of being able to live as you please comes from your inner being. This is commonly referred to as your mind, quite obviously. In fact, the word mind is not really big enough to explain this secret of what it is. It's a far greater power than you ever imagined. We all use and give lip service to the word mind. We say this, that, or the other, but we really don't know what it is. And it's so great. The Pali Canon, which are the scriptures of the earliest Buddhist teachings around 500 to 250 BC, says all that is comes from the mind, is based on the mind, is fashioned by the mind. So for 3,000 years, people have known this, except for our present-day society. We give lip service to the rational, logical faculties of the mind, which can be excellently useful, but we don't realize that we are in this mind-based universe, and we need to harness and grab and understand our mind and use our mind, which is an invisible substance, but I'll give you the ways to use it shortly. Then if you can do that, you really get your head around it. And mind in the Pali Canon quote means the superconscious. That's what they're really talking about. So what do you have in life? What are your choices in life? What you have in life is you either live from your senses, the five senses. You live a sensory life where you are satisfying those five senses, taste, touch, smell, etc. And that's what most people do. They satisfy their senses. So that's choice one. That's personal mind stuff. And secondly, you can live from the inner world of your superconscious mind. And the way that you do this is that you become the creator of your life, because that's the end game as well. You become literally the total creator of your life. But in the beginning, you start to behave in ways that allow you to create and manifest what you want. You do not sit back and wait and see what happens, because you could either wait an awful long time, nothing happens, or you just live out some conditioning, a bit of your DNA memory, this sort of thing. Not so bright as a way to go. So the superconscious is the word we use. It's a word, again, it's just a word for some magnificent, unimaginable faculty. And the superconscious is that which translates and solidifies your thoughts and images and gives them form in the world. So you might imagine a relationship of some type. Your superconscious will then kick into action to get whatever that thing is in the sense of the relationship to you. It immediately gets cracking on it, because as you'll see, it's your superconscious. Obviously, it's going to follow your instructions, even though you don't know what's going on most of the time. So prior to this ability to solidify thoughts and images into experiences in your material world, then what is prior to thought and image is energy. And that's why the yogis teach that living from energy, controlling your energy, is absolutely essential as a companion to controlling your mind. So here you are, sitting with your body, in and as your body. You're sitting there in your life, you're moving through your life, and you do not realize that this body-mind device is the creator of your life. It is doing it. And eventually, when you establish yourself in your true self, you will experience that. You will sit there one day, maybe you've done some meditation, some chanting, some proper practices, and you'll suddenly realize, this is called self-realization in a way, suddenly you realize, oh my God, it's coming from me. It's coming from this instrument that I am. How did this happen? You could have been on a spiritual path for 20 years before this dawns on you, because you can't force it. You have to peel away the acres of wrappings, intellectual ideas and conditioning and everything to get to that natural state. But you will get to it if you are committed to getting to it. And when you get to it and you're there and you realize that you are the self that is creating your life, it is a wonderful thing, as you can imagine, a wonderful thing. And then a whole doorway opens up of layer after layer after layer of levels of consciousness, but we'll get to that later on. So let's deal with what you can do. It's vital to develop what is called the integrating force. And it is this which builds unity of all the different sub-personalities that you have within you. And when it is built up by yogic techniques and concentration and willpower, then the sub-personalities merge together. So why would they need to merge together? Simply because when they formed, they come as lots of individual structures, the sub-personalities, the ways that you behave, in other words. They come as these little structures, and some people think that there was one big structure that got shattered by the upbringing, like a windscreen gets shattered into lots of little bits when a stone hits it. Some people think that. Now, that may be the case, but what we do know is that the integrating force needs to actually be at work all the time, trying to form you into one single being. Because at the moment, you have so many different behaviors, so many different programs within you, so many different sub-personalities, as we all do, and they are being attracted by this particular event happens, and out comes that sub-personality, and that event happens, oh, and then an old friend comes, hello, and over, and that's what life is. As you know, it's very hard to concentrate, to hold the mind steady. You jump from this to that to the other, and back again, and round and round and round. That's normal life, nothing wrong with it. That's just the way humanity has been formed. But what you want to do is to integrate them all together. And when you do, or as you even start to progress in that path of integration, there are floods of creativity that appear. Suddenly from within yourself, as you merge more and more together into this singular being, then what you find is that you get very creative, very inspired, fantastic ideas, much better behaviors in your relationships, all those kinds of things. And as that erupts, if you like, that creative power, it takes you into the level of genius. So that's what happens. That's how you become a genius. So that's really great. And Pierre Janet, one of the founders of modern psychology, said, where the power to synthesize, in other words, merge together, is very great, all psychological phenomenon, whatever their origin, are united in the same personal perception, and consequently, no other personalities exist. In such a state, there would be no distractions, no trance states, no suggestibility, or anything else that would drag a person into their subconscious. So this is very important. What happens to you is that you are dragged into your subconscious on a daily, hourly, minutely basis due to not aiming for the highest within yourself, and your whole system of personal mind is lots of little bits rather than one single whole, and that gives you procrastination, weakness, indecision, anxiety, fear, lack of creativity, you name it, all the things that we don't want. But it can all be fixed. I'm going to give you the way to fix it. In other words, if you can free up your inner memories and blockages and unify your subpersonalities, you will release that massive flow of brilliance that will contain so much power, you will be recognized as a genius in whatever field you're working in. And that means you'll be living from the superconscious. And not only will you have this kind of brilliance in whatever your chosen work or activity is, but you'll also be able to enjoy the most fulfilling experiences of all in your everyday life of relationships, lifestyle, career, finances, freedom, etc. So the two go together. As you go up the escalator, as we were talking last time, as you go up the escalator, things come to you more and more. The further down the escalator in negativity that you are, the harder it is to bring to yourself whatever it is that you want. So let's now define exactly what is the superconscious, because it's an all-encompassing word that contains your highest nature as well as the intelligence of life itself. So it's the program, if you like, that operates the universe. We could look at that simple analogy if you want. And what it is an instrument that responds to your demands and actually creates the various experiences that you live out. Something has to do it. You have desires, they can be fulfilled, as you know. You can choose to do something, to go to university, study a degree and get it. You've made that choice. Something has happened, and it's not just the material world in play there. There's something else of a psychological nature, an emotional nature, all sorts of things going on. Now, this is also the superconscious, is the faculty that puts you in a state of grace. So the more that you're rising in the elevator of energy within you, in other words, the more that you find that automatically you uplift people by your presence. And the more that you can merge with this purely by going within, then the more you can do that, the more effect you can have on other people. So the superconscious is the energy and the intelligence within which the universe is created and run from the Big Bang, if there ever was one, to the present moment. It's infinite, it's eternal, it's omnipresent and omnipotent. In other words, omnipresent means everywhere at the same time. Omnipotent means having power or the ability to do anywhere and everywhere at the same time. So it's the manifesting faculty of the universe. That's why you want to be involved with it. You don't want to be in a situation where you're out of touch with the superconscious, because the lower down the energy levels you go into the negativity, and the further away you are from the superconscious, in other words, you're at the, splashing in the subconscious and its negative patterns, the harder life is. So the intelligent person turns their attention to, how is it that I can access more and more of the superconscious? That's what you always must keep in mind yourself, because the superconscious can create anything whatsoever, every possibility, every type of creation beyond your wildest imagination. And why can it do that? Because everything, whether it's physical, material, or energetic, is a creation of the different planes of life. There is energy under everything, or at the base of everything, as we know, but there's something under that too, and what is under that is the superconscious. So it is the single ingredient in everything, if you like. Science sometimes refers to it as the unified field. Others refer to it as the creative intelligence. There's all sorts of names for it, doesn't matter what you call it. Some people muddle up the subconscious with the superconscious. The subconscious is just memory. It's an automaton memory collecting thing like your hard drive. That's what it does. It doesn't have its own intelligence as the superconscious does. It has its minor intelligence for coding and collecting memories, but it's a lesser part of the mind, let's call it. We don't want to get too much into defining it because the mind is one thing, really. But what the subconscious does, and why you want to know this, is because it causes us to repress and deny our higher creative and energetic potentials, which on an individual human level we call the personal superconscious. So you have these personal powers, personal abilities, but what is happening is that these are repressed and denied because you identify with some pattern from the past that is being conditioned into you that's holding you back and restricting you. And we hang on to those things because of the negative emotion that's underneath them as their anchors. We hold on tightly thinking, I've got to keep this one. But when a person completes their human journey to the higher state, which means merging with the superconscious quite obviously, and there are no limiting or inhibiting factors blocking it, they've all been released, then they are in a state of grace. Now you hear this in the religions, a state of grace is the one to go for. It's called by lots of names. This is very important. It's not just a religious thing. A state of grace is called transpersonal consciousness in transpersonal psychology, a Western psychological discipline. Gurdjieff, the great teacher from 100 years ago, called it objective consciousness, amongst other things. Psychiatrist Maurice Bach, again over 100 years ago, called it cosmic consciousness. And in India, it's got a variety of names because they made a whole study of it. Their culture is a study of this, actually. It's referred to by such names as Samadhi and Krishna consciousness. In esoteric Christianity, it's called Christ consciousness. And what it means to you is that the individual has actually completed the arc of maturity, okay, and is established in their own self. You're born as an infant, you have no faculties as an adult does. Those faculties grow during your childhood, and if you are not injured, damaged, or wounded during your upbringing, which is very, very rare, then you will fully mature. Like an oak tree grows and gives off acorns, a human being should fully mature as well. Very few do. Maybe 10% will do that. A lot of people can get strong egos, which is a strong personal mind, but not an awful lot can grow themselves to the completion of the arc of maturity. So most people's problems, you can say quite honestly, are around because they haven't completed the arc of maturity. They're still stuck in childhood. That's what's stuck. That's what gets it stuck in childhood. You know, there's some sort of event takes place where you are bullied or restricted or damaged in some way, and you cease to grow psychologically or emotionally. You develop certain personality masks to deal with life, and you appear to be an adult. But lift the lid just a little even, and you can see that no, people have not grown as they should have done. So that's what you wanted to do. Now, let's look and see what happens as you get into the superconscious, and then we'll show you what to do and how to do it, and what are the siddhis, the great, huge extrasensory psychic powers and powers of the superconscious. So it involves you experiencing an expanded state of consciousness, and the person experiences this release of energy, and they feel themselves filled up with energy, and that flows out into their surroundings, literally. And you can feel it going, you sense everything around you as you, because your energy is consciousness. It is your own consciousness. It's going beyond the body. Now, some people think this is mad. How could that possibly be? Well, just study transpersonal psychology. They've got thousands and thousands of reports about this kind of thing. So it's not something that, you know, is a new age fantasy. This is the most ancient knowledge of all, plus the leading edge branches of advanced psychology, because people are having so many of these experiences. they report feeling at one with the universe, for instance. That's another thing. And they find that extrasensory perceptions begin to awaken. And because of these, they feel the external world and themselves are one single faculty. You literally feel that you and life are one single thing. And that is the best, most blissful experience you can possibly have. And if you have it with somebody else, then you know the meaning of ecstatic love and excuse me, and divine love and those sorts of words, connected at the heart, this sort of thing. You also find that coincidences start to increase for you, that you see people, you're thinking of them, and they turn up around the corner. All these kind of very simple and even quite deep coincidences start to take place more and more. And they happen so often in a day, if you're doing the practices properly, that you think, what's happening to me? I'm seeing that I'm running my own life. Well, that's true, you are. It's coming from within you. When you can do it consciously, of course, you can create all sorts of things. Now, let's look at the powers. First of all, when people are in a higher state and they turn their attention within, they find the most incredible, unusual dream states and inner adventures taking place. Exquisite experiences of their inner world, far surpass anything they can experience in the outer world, the universe itself. Perhaps if they were flying through it, they might have these sorts of things, but just in ordinary daily life. Also, what you find, it's very interesting, this one, that you can read other people. You can read their mind, what they're thinking, where they're coming from, what drives them. And it's a very, very interesting kind of thing to do. It's not like you're reading their mind like a book where they're thinking this, that, and the other. It means that you're reading who and what they are at a very deep level. And if you're in relationship, this is a great help, because you can see when people are behaving in a negative way, what it is that's driving them to be like that, and you then don't react. That you can actually help draw them out of their negative experience. So that's one thing that you can do. And you find that extrasensory perceptions awaken in the sense that you know who's ringing you when the phone rings, or when there's a knock at the door, or you know where to look in a huge library to find the exact book that you need. You find something guides you, so you awaken the inner guide, the super intelligent inner guide. And then what happens is that the siddhis arise. Now, the siddhis are very, very important. And I'll just briefly give you some straight out of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is the classic book on yoga and its powers. The siddhis basically are powers that spontaneously land in your lap when you can actually concentrate properly to access and merge with the superconscious. So I'll just read you a couple from the actual book of this Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. They come about due to concentration, by using internal concentration practices, which are quite easy to understand. They say that if you concentrate on the threefold modifications, you can know the past and future. That if you meditate properly, you move through the 3 stages of meditation, and you find that there are knowledge, glimpses of knowledge perhaps, or lots of knowledge that come to you, then you find that they will give you knowledge that you can know what's coming, and you can know what people have been doing, even if you've never met them before. This is sort of comes to you. And then they say if you concentrate on the impressions of your past, you can know your past lives. Now, whether you believe in past lives, whether your own personality's past lives or something else, some memories in the universe, by concentrating on past events, you can get into what they call past lives. But that's a translation from the Indian, of course, the Sanskrit, so we don't really know what it exactly means, but very interesting anyway. If you concentrate on another's mind, you will know that mind. So if you do that, if you pay attention to somebody's mind, you really pay attention to them, not sort of giving them the evil eye or something, but you just are paying attention and you have developed your concentration powers, then what you find is that you will know their mind and often what's in it. You can speak to people internally. These might sound so bizarre that you find it very difficult to even accept. And if they, number 22, concentrate on the immediate or future karma. So what are you living out? Karma means the results of your actions. You will know the time and cause of your death. That might be pretty useful, mightn't it? Whether you should pay off the insurance policy and cash it in or make it on the right date. Then what you find that if you concentrate on friendship, mercy, joy, you will excel in them, that you will magnify them. So you concentrate on that behavior. If you concentrate on the strength of an elephant, you will get that strength, not literally an elephant, but you will tremendously increase your strength by concentrating on a very, very strong animal. Then you will also, if you concentrate on the moon, you will know other planets. If you concentrate on the pole star, you'll know the motions of the stars. Now this might sound a bit odd, but if you concentrate on the pole star, you look at it and you pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, something in your superconscious will open up, because the superconscious knows everything, and will reveal to you the movements of the other stars. You'll get a higher experience of what that means. And if you concentrate on the hollow of the throat, you will go beyond hunger and thirst. So that might be good if you're fasting, obviously. And if you concentrate on the light in the head, when you go within, you meditate a lot, you will eventually see a light in your head. And when you concentrate on that, not gritting concentration, but just paying attention to it, you will meet the masters. So what that means is that some beings from probably within your own unconscious or superconscious will come into your inner mind stuff, your awareness, and you'll be able to talk and relate to them and see them and experience them, of course. If you concentrate on your own intelligence, you will know everything. If you concentrate on the heart, you will know every mind. And I used to see Muktananda, the man I studied with, who would say to people things that how he could not have known in any other way unless he was somehow or other connected with them on a sort of spiritual basis. And he would call things out about people, and they were shocked that he would know these kinds of things, but to him it was nothing special. So there are many, many, if you read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there are many, many, many different powers that you can create through this superconscious way, but the most important one is the state you are in. If you can get into a great state, what the advice of the yogis is not to seek out or search the powers themselves. They're little bits of the pie. What you want is to concentrate on raising your consciousness up the elevator, getting into the superconscious state, and then all those powers dance in the court of the yogis, they say. That they will come to you. They'll just be there, and you can use them. You don't have to develop them like muscle building. You work on your own consciousness, your own state, make it higher, and all those things will be given to you. And what you'll find is as you do these things, the negativity will fall away, but it doesn't leave a void. What it does is it gives you an incredible power of creativity. It releases an invisible genius. You feel that you're living with an invisible genius, a guide in your life, and you experience that as a presence, as a living presence. There is another intelligence. It's your intelligence, but it's expanded as an invisible field of intelligence. So your brain or your head is expanded, and you feel yourself sort of out there, literally that size, as a continuum, and it will guide you and give you all sorts of incredible knowledge and tips and solutions and anything that you can possibly imagine, exact solutions down to the, you know, if you're doing something in engineering, it'll get exactly the right millimeter size of what you need and so on, or it can come up with an exact solution to any problem, how to behave if your relationship's going downhill, or a brilliant idea that you need to move ahead in your life, how to come up with some financial secret that will do it. And why? Because the superconscious has access to every level of intelligence. It knows what's going on within you, consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously. It's omnipresent, it's omnipotent, it has knowledge of your personal mind, it has a knowledge of everybody's personal mind, of everything in the universe. And you could look at a simple example, maybe when you've been in a relationship with another person, you find that both of you are thinking the same thoughts and being able to finish each other's sentences. That's not an uncommon experience. That is the kind of thing that the superconscious is doing with you. It is that close to you. It is absolutely in tune with your own being. And what you want to do is to realize that not only has it control over your external world, it also has control of your inner world, of your body. And this is where people heal themselves of things. They find that magical healings take place, so-called miraculous things can take place. And this again is something to do with the superconscious, quite obviously. So you need to train your superconscious, and it will be trained, it will do what you want, it is your servant in some strange sort of way, and you can give it instructions about what you want it to do. And you can see where religions have taken the concept of the superconscious and integrated it with their teachings. Doesn't matter what you call it, it responds anyway. And so my strongest advice to you is to enter into a spiritual journey in your life with the deliberate intention of freeing yourself from your past patterns and gaining access to the superconscious. Now, a spiritual journey, the word spirit means energy, so a spiritual journey is an energetic journey, but the spiritual nature of it means going for the highest. If you focus your attention on going for the highest in your life, then you're not going to get the lowest, are you? You may slip down a couple of notches, but if you keep going with the proper practices, you will open the door to what life really is meant to be. Why on earth would you spend your life paying off the mortgage? Okay, it's good to pay it off, there's no doubt about that. It's fine to have one, but you want to use it as a means of expanding your consciousness. So what you find is that all spiritual paths, religions, traditions, mystical schools, mystery schools, they're all after the same thing. Everybody's after the same thing, which of course is the superconscious, is living in the state of grace. And fortunately, the ancient paths have been honed over thousands of years of millions of people and polished to perfection. And that's why I always advise everybody to follow the traditions that are still working. There's plenty that aren't working, obviously. And you don't have to go anywhere, by the way, to do it. A lot of people think, oh, I've got to go and live in the Himalayas or the Andes or some desert or whatever it is. The superconscious is always ever present. You can do it in your daily life. You can do it while you're making money. That's fine. Or cooking the meal. Or going out with your boyfriend or girlfriend. It's fine. You don't have to do it. It's like, you know, a fish swimming in the ocean, believing that it's got to find water in some sort of special location. Obviously, the water is all around it all the time. And in the same way, your superconscious is not only all around you, it's through every molecule and cell and atom of your body. It's there. It's there already. You are it. You don't have to get it. You have to take off the wrappings that are cutting you off from experiencing and using it. Now, the way you do that is study. You must study the subject very carefully, because what holds you back is usually your intellect. The intellect is a huge, huge thing, full of ideas, full of conclusions, full of vanity, and it keeps you from the direct experience, which is a surrendered experience, an opening experience. It wants to be a know-all. The only way around that, and I know that one myself very, very much, I was stuck in it for decades, the only way through that is to hear the information over and over again, do the practices over and over again, And gradually, when little experiences start to come, the intellect is sort of affronted. Hang on a sec, that wasn't meant to happen. You know, and then suddenly these amazing experiences happen. It starts to shut up and listen. And when you're at that stage, you're doing very, very well. The other thing is that what you do is you relate to the superconscious in a conscious way, and it responds very accurately. So ask, you shall receive. If you want something, speak to it. Ask for it. Express gratitude. A lot of people like to do that to it when it does deliver things to you. Start to do your techniques. Don't put them aside just because they haven't delivered today. Just go for them as much as you possibly can, because the superconscious is like a highly intelligent friend. It's someone who's there to help you. It has your best interests at heart, and you'll find that it will treat you like that. It'll give you things and you'll feel so grateful, as though there is an invisible best friend there. I know that's what happens to me. I get something out of the blue, or a beautiful experience happens, I chant for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I make some call or have to do something business-wise, and suddenly I get this incredible gift. And I'm still stunned, even though that happens so often. I'm still amazed at how it can work, what magical thing it is, because it is a magic wand. There is, you know, a magic wand in all of us, inside ourselves, and it is accessed by the ancient practices that have been around and proven for literally thousands and thousands of years, quite obviously. So develop the attitude towards this incredible force that you have, this magical force that you have. Intentionally do the consciousness work, and then what you'll find is that the real secret is to make the space available within you to begin with, make the space available within you to allow the superconscious to pour into you, and you will feel it, energetic. It's like an energy that either starts to pour in or fill up from the inside out, and you can just sit there in your meditation, having done the chanting and any other practice. You sit there and you literally feel it. And when you feel it, at the end of your session, you can get up and carry it with you. And you keep doing that until it becomes so established that you never get a break in it again. You have to top it up with the practices. Don't think you can just do 20 minutes of a practice and you're set for life. It's not like that. It's like an athlete keeping fit, you know, or a tennis player or a pianist. They have to practice every day. Why should it be any different for the best thing in life? You will eventually reach a state, they say, where you are in the state all the time, but until that point comes, you want to actually do the practices. I've never met an enlightened being who didn't still do the practices, even though they were recognized even worldwide as an enlightened being. They still did the practices, because you're charging up the body, you're freeing the spinal cord of its primal drives, you're clearing out the limbic brain with your blocked emotions and subconscious material and that sort of thing. So you want to do that, and you realize that your superconscious arises as energy. That energy will flush out the deeply held programs which block what you want. Stop from today onwards looking out there for the cause of your problems. Yes, there will be seeming causes out there, but more often than not, they've come from within. So first of all, when you want something, whatever it might be, go within, increase your energy, examine yourself, clear the garbage from within you, the anchors, these sorts of things. Hold and fill your mind with what you want, not in some obsessive paranoid way, but in a sensible way. Just fill it up. Do, implanting techniques twice a day, something like that. Chant as much as you can. That is the fast path. There's nothing faster than that. You can do this as a test. Let's say you don't believe it and you are willing to give it a try, then just give yourself 1 hour or 2 hours a day. It's not so much, just for a short period of time, 5 days or something. Just do that, or even 3 days, just for an hour, morning and evening. Fill your mind with what you want, as a visualization, with a affirmation, if you like, with the feeling, the experiencing, the feeling that you'll get when you get that thing, just the standard programming techniques. Go within, do it, do it, do it, and you will notice, as everybody does, you will notice something to do with that goal will come your way remarkably quickly. Now, when that happens, most people go, wow, that was amazing, man. Isn't that incredible? And then they stop doing it. Not such a good idea. So when something happens, write it down. I was, wanting a particular girlfriend, let's say. You're a young man, you want a particular type of girlfriend, and you're there in a shop, and a girl comes and stands right next to you in the shop on the queue to pay, and she's exactly the kind that you're looking for. And she looks at you and gives you a very nice smile, and you think, is this it? And then her husband comes up and stands next to her. But it shows you that something is shifting, and what you want to do is to shift out of the rut that you have found yourself in due to your upbringing, due to all the conditioning. Step out of the rut. As Oscar Wilde said, the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. That's it. So step out of the rut, step out of the grave, so to speak, and start to use your body-mind system as it was designed to be used, which is, like everything else in life, a faculty that bursts creativity. You send something out, it has its life, and then it goes. Whatever it might be. Maybe you make up a song, you write it, you play the music, you sing it, and then it's gone from you because now you're doing other songs. You see? That's what life is. It's a creative burst. You are a creative burst, but you don't think of your ordinary daily life as opportunities for a creative burst. It's like making a meal. That's a creative burst. You make the meal, you do the shopping, you get the recipes, you cook it up, you serve it out, it's eaten up, and it's gone. That's life. So you're not looking for something to hang on to forever like some sort of secure anchor. They don't exist. What you want to do is to develop yourself as a creative, manifesting person who lives in that way. And if you do it deliberately, you will be thrilled at what can happen for you. Your days will become positive shocks and thrills as you see, my goodness, I have got this extra power that I never knew I had. That's the important thing. I've got this. And then you can start to organize your life to go in the direction that you want, and that becomes the greatest secret of all. And energy, 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 that's the real thing to go for. And as you meditate, which you must meditate, don't waste your time not meditating. Do as much as you can. Don't tell yourself off if you don't do it. Just do it. 5 minutes, set up a new habit, but try and get to that 20 minutes twice a day is ideal for fast changes, and you'll feel so good and things will start to work so well for you. You'll think, why on earth haven't I been doing it all the time? That's what everybody, I must say, everybody thinks that. So the superconscious is a state that you enter, you're in partnership with it, you make the space available for it, you surrender to it, you don't submit to it, but you surrender in the sense of getting it to join in with your life. It is your own intelligence. There is no separation except for the old patterns of the past. That's what you do with that, and you start from now on to deliberately create what you want. You make that down to the smallest little thing. You make everything an action of creativity. That you are here as a living junior god, as they like to say in India. And you will create things. You will make things and create them. And really, I mean, I can't recommend this enough because it's such a fast way to do it. I've done this for 50 years and tried everything you can imagine. Well, not everything, but lots and lots of things. And the real question is this. You ask yourself this. Are you going to commit yourself to becoming a superconscious being? Can you make that decision? Because if you make that decision and you work on it, even if you start with little tiny bits in the beginning, if you do that, then what will happen is that life will respond. And when it responds, you will be very, very happy indeed because you will have the magic wand. Literally, you'll have the magic wand. And bizarre as it may seem, that's how life is meant to be. You are not here to suffer, to struggle, to experience anxiety and fear and confusion and failure and all these things. You're here, doesn't mean you won't experience them if that's what's been put into you, but it means you're on the path to success, where you merge with the intelligence of life itself, and all these incredible powers are given to you. So I'm going to take questions in a moment, but before I do, some people have written to me, the Byron Bay retreat, now it's June, it's 2 months' time now, it's filling up every day. It will fill up before we get to June. So in the Byron Bay retreat, what we're going to do is practice, practice, practice these things. I'm going to give you the whole step-by-step process to take you from an ordinary personal mind being to what is known as an awakened being, someone who has access to the superconscious more and more. And as you practice these very straightforward things, I'm also going to give you the intellectual understanding so that it can sandpaper off your own intellectual blocks. Because even if you're a positive person, you could easily have many, many unconscious or subconscious blocks that are just stopping you from allowing the superconscious in. The superconscious is always there, waiting for your call, but something is blocking you. You may have no, challenges from your childhood. It's quite possible you had a very nice, loving family and you weren't bullied at school and everything went well. But something's still stopping you from accessing the energy, accessing the grace. You haven't made it to someone who has by just being in the presence of that person, other people get uplifted. That's what you want to get for. You want to get to that point, and you can. Anybody can do it. Why? Because it's your natural state. So I'm going to show you and give you the means in the Byron Bay retreat as to how it is that you can access. You will experience the energy in the weekend. We have musicians, we have proper chanting, we have all sorts of unique and original, brand new methods to teach you. And what the goal of it is for you to be able to raise your consciousness permanently. So when you do that, when you start to incrementally go up the elevator, so to speak, then you find that the powers will awaken, your presence will awaken. People will say to you, my goodness, I feel so comfortable around you. And you find people tell you their life story just out of the blue because they feel safe with you. It's a wonderful quality for relationships. It's Muktananda used to say, when I was young, I was on my own in the forests and the hermitages. He said, but don't worry, he said, because if you do this work, you'll be surrounded by people as you get older. People just want to be with you because you have the atmosphere, the energy that is so irresistibly attractive. It is. It's irresistibly attractive. It's something quite unlike anything else that people have in the sense of qualities that you think are attractive. It is something that goes primal underneath, and people, their surface mind can't resist. Wow, they get that feeling. And you will go into bliss once you follow this path. This is the most ancient path of all. It's not something I've invented. This is the one that is the best, thousands of years old, still works today, still works in modern Western civilization. You can still do your job and have your family and enjoy your life in any way that you want to. You don't have to give up anything. You have to add to yourself tremendous energy and power and attractiveness. So this is what I'm doing in the Byron Bay retreat. I'm going to show you how to live deliberately with great relaxation, great happiness, of course, and enjoyment. And just like a musical instrument has to be deliberately played, you have to deliberately live. It's not that you're straining, it's a flow, it's a joy, it's those sorts of things, just like playing the piano or the guitar. It's something that you really enjoy doing. And imagine that. Imagine when you are in this state, at least even a fractional bit more in this state, imagine what a joy it'll be to play your life. The effort, the ugliness, the difficulty, the challenges, the woeful events that might have taken place can dissolve away, and you start to get better and feel better, and then what you can do is actually live your life in the way that it's meant to be lived. So look at your life as something that needs to be discovered, how to be played, and every single opportunity that comes your way will be the chance to do just that. So I cannot recommend enough practicing these things. Again, I've tried so many things. This is the way. There's nothing better than this. It works flawlessly every single time. So I only do these once a year. The next one is June the 3rd and 4th. I'm going to send you a link to it so that you can join in if you want to. I strongly recommend you do, simply because it's very, very hard to get this information. There are so many groups and seminars and things out there that just lead you astray, that waste your time. It is very sad to see all these things, people being not so much conned, because I don't believe that people are deliberately trying to con people, but they just don't know. And you can see them sending someone down a 5 or 10 year track that they're going to need to be wound back in from. They're going to come back to this sort of work. Why reinvent the wheel? Waste of time. Take advantage of the wheel itself that is already made and already available for you. And so this course, the weekend, $495, the early bird price, that's going up very shortly, and you can make it in 2 payments if you want. You go to that link I've just sent you in the chat box and the question box, I presume you got it, and you can register there to grab your place. They will start to sell thick and fast now. We've got about half of them gone already. So if you want to secure your spot, grab it as soon as you can, and you will find that this is something that can radically transform your life. Your life isn't going to transform if you do nothing. There's no use sitting there thinking, I won't do this, I won't do that, what can I do? I hope something changes. It's not going to happen. It won't happen, I can guarantee you. Because, why? Because the patterns are still in there. If you've been brought up to speak English, then you will, of course, speak English. That's the pattern. Although, mind you, I read about a guy, I saw a video of a guy who dived into a pool and hit his head, an English-speaking guy, and he came out speaking French. No, that was the boy, sorry, the camping boy, came out speaking French. He couldn't speak English again. The French just came out. And there was another guy who actually was the one who dived in the pool, and he hit his head, you might have seen it, and he came out able to play the piano perfectly, never having played before. There's a lovely video on Facebook about it. So we don't know what's in there, except that everything is in there, that the superconscious is everything. So why not open up your experience of life in the most ancient traditional way? Come along to Byron Bay, fabulous place, beautiful time of year. Do what they did in the Himalayan mystery schools for thousands of years. Learn the same techniques and practice them, and take that state and knowledge back into your own life. So that's what we have for you. Only chance this year, and therefore what you can do is go to that link. If you didn't get the link, send me a little message back. I'm going to take questions now, and let's see what we've got here question-wise. Let me see. Yes, Graham, the 2 sessions are available there. Thank you. I haven't got a DVD, Stan. I will put up a link for you to look at it on Vimeo, which is like YouTube. You get a link, a private link. So there's no DVDs. Oh, it came back, Roland did it. I'll send you the link so you can hear the rest. Okay, Roland, I'll do that for you. Thanks, Jeremy. I was only able to join the webinar now. Yes, I'm going to put up the whole thing for you. Hopefully by tomorrow. I'll send you all an email once it's done. It does take a little time to get it up there. Sometimes it goes out of sync and I have to spend hours trying to get it exactly back into sync, which I did on one of them, but it works. Anyway, I've worked out how to do that nicely. Thank you, Michael. Great to listen to the information again. Business and life going well. Okay, all the best. Thank you, Surya. Yes, Lucy, email me tomorrow. Stephanie, yeah, looking forward to Byron again. That's great you're coming. It will be great. We're going to spice it up a bit. And our musicians are coming back, the drummer and the harmonium player, and oh, it's fabulous. And a new chef. We've got beautiful food now. I've got a very nice chef. You have mentioned you chant at home. Is there a particular chant you found to be the most beneficial or most powerful to use when alone? Look, I personally do a text chant now, which is called the Kundalini Stavaha, S-T-A-V-A. You can look it up on the web and download a print of it. And what I'll do in Byron is I'll give a recording of it so people can sing along once I get there. So if you're able to come to Byron, I'll be able to get it to you there. But you can usually find it on, hopefully on YouTube or something like that. Hi, Michael. Can I participate from a distance through Skype? Or can you send the links? And Lev, it's hard to send the links because they are basically, it's all the chanting and meditating and consciousness practices. So there isn't much to link to. But I can send you the chants if I haven't done that already. Let me know if you've got the chants. I can send that separately to you. Mark, thank you, Michael, for these sessions. They've inspired me to get out of your courses that I bought on CD at one of your seminars in Cairns. That's right, Mark. I'm glad of that. I definitely need some transformation in my life right now. Thank you. That's great. I know a lot of people have told me they've got the old tapes, the audio tapes even of the stuff, and they drag them out and have a look at them again. You really can't listen to this stuff enough until you're in the highest state. That's the truth of it. Okay? It's very, very important. Thank you so much. I'll connect with you. Now, thanks, Kelly. That's great. All the best. Let me know if you need any other advice. Thank you, Julie. That's right. Meditate. George, thank you. I enjoyed the seminar. Thank you very much, the webinar. Julie, thank you, Michael, for your inspiration and techniques. Focus to remain aligned to the superconscious. What is the role of emotions and feelings? Is the Byron weekend in the mole Chris James, in the hall? No, it's in well, I don't think Chris James built it. It's an Aikido hall called the Temple Byron. If you look it up, Temple Byron, you'll see what it looks like. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful venue. He spent a fortune on it, the owner. Beautiful crystals, and he's got large stones that come from the headwaters of the Ganges that have been rolled smooth over thousands of years, and plants and crow's nest feet things. Oh God, it's a beautiful place. So it's well worth coming just to see that, actually. I don't think it's the one that Chris built. Chris built a sort of, no, it wasn't. Chris is in Mullumbimby. This is in Byron. Ron, fantastic information. Thank you, Ron. The book is what you look for is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Ron. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Thank you, Michael. Inspiring as usual. Look forward to the retreat. Thanks, Rob. Great to see you there. Won't know if I can make Byron until 2 weeks before. We'll let you know how I go. Okay. All right, Darren. Hopefully we can squash you in. He's very strict on the places, you know, because he doesn't want too many people there. Alan, I'm focusing on asking for answers to health problems using the To Ask Superconscious for answers daily. Very good. I'll have a little chat to you as well. John, you were running late. Can I give a quick recap? It will be very hard to give a recap, John, but what I am going to do is put up a recording of the whole thing. And if you're on our mail list, which I presume you must be, if not, go to michaeldomeykorowland.com, and there's a registration box there, michaeldomeykorowland.com, then you will get the whole thing. And I'll put all three up, you see there. Ala, there you are. Good. Yes, looking forward to Byron too. That's great. Nice to see you there. Hugh, thank you. Great. Thanks, John. That's great. All the best to you too, Ala. Okay. So that's very exciting. Thanks, Joan. Glad you enjoyed it. It's really crucially important to get this knowledge. You look at the world now. I saw in the paper, well, not the paper, the Google News, just 2 or 3 days ago, where they said that more diseases are caused by depression than anything else. More diseases. The depression causes diseases, in other words. So that's a shocking thing, because that's a classic opposite of the superconscious, an energetic you know, suppression, repression, that kind of thing. That's what it is, an energetic issue. And if you take up, you know, even simple positive thinking can help a lot with that kind of thing, but one doesn't say that medically, obviously, but you may find there's some release. But certainly the breath is a great help with anything when you're feeling contracted. But if you want to taste some rocket fuel, gentle rocket fuel, we won't be sending you to Mars like Elon Musk, then the weekend in Byron will help you a lot. And so that's great. There's Helen. Thank you very much. That's great, Helen. Thank you. I'm going to write it. Somebody's asked for the retreat again, the website. Have a go there. Let me know if it works. I did send it. I don't know whether did it arrive in the question box. I'll put it in the chat box there as well. I think we've got it there. Anyway, hopefully, there we are. I'll put it in once more in the other little box. Okay. So yes, so that's what we've done. I do have 2 places left for the last opportunity for one-to-one consultation with me. Only 2 now, and it's very unlikely I'll be doing it again this year. And I'm not sure about next year even, this stage, because if I make a film, that swallows up my time. But if you are interested in the one-to-one training, just email me. I'll get in touch with you, let you know all the details. But it can be a fantastic experience for you, because I will personally guide you, look after you, whether it's you want to start a business, make money, know about the internet, or you've got some other issues of your own that you would like some help with. I'm happy to do that. So write to me if you'd like to be one of the last 2, and you will be very, very happy. I can assure you that we can get things moving for you. So let's see. Jane, hello Jane, wonderful, thank you. Looking at coming to Byron, that's great. Let me know as soon as you can, that's great. What comments do you have about feelings and emotions? Feelings and emotions come from the limbic brain. So they're below the cortex where you think, and they're above, in inverted commas, the spinal cord with its primal drives of fight, flight, freeze, and brutality and all that kind of thing, survival, predator stuff. So they're in the middle brain, sometimes they call it, and they are usually tied to thought. They're like the anchor on the end of the rope of thought. So if you work with your thoughts, if you do the concentration that I'm going to teach you in Byron, if you do that kind of concentration work, what you'll find is that you can take control of your feelings, not in the sense of suppressing them and your emotions, not in suppressing them, but they don't arise anymore because you are now in a higher state of consciousness. Emotions usually come from a childlike part of the mind. Feelings are different, slightly different, but when you complete the arc of maturity, you enter into a permanent positive feeling state. That's what happens. It doesn't mean you become unemotional. You can grieve, you can feel sad, somebody close to you passes away or whatever it is, then you can do that. But in truth, the reality of the feeling, emotional part of the mind is that much of it is tied to thought. And you know that because if you think of something sad, somebody tells you something, then you can weep. You feel bad and sad and weep. What's happened? A thought has gone in, pressed play on the feelings. So feelings are lovely, marvelous a lot of the time, but why not go for the big feeling where you feel ecstatic? That's a much better feeling to go for. I hope that helps. Julie? Answers to help runs asked yes, okay, that's good. I'm a student, hang on, from ages ago and would love to have one of the personal training spots if possible. Won't be in Byron overseas, but I want my daughter and her boyfriend to go. Thank you so much for your divine inspiration. Thanks, Kay. Could you email me, Kay? I'll put in my email. It's just the one after there, 22@icloud.com. MICH, I've spelled my own name wrong, that's clever. Michael Rowland 22 at icloud.com. Okay, I'm going to send that to you. Let me know if you got it, Kay, and then if you would be kind enough to email me as well, that would be great. But I will take a copy of that because I haven't got your number, your phone number that I can ring you on. If you want to send me your phone number, that would be a good idea as well. Okay. Let's see another one. That's the one. Okay, that looks like it, I think. Thank you very much for staying and listening to everything. These are good. I'm glad we were able to get through all three of these. I'm going to be doing some new things as well, starting next month, and I'll keep you informed. Everything I'm doing is I'd like you to actually I'd like you to be able to take advantage of what's coming, because we haven't talked about the robots and artificial intelligence for a long time, but there is a need to really train yourself up to be prepared for what's coming. Some people are going to live a fabulous life, better than ever before. Some people won't be prepared and will suffer the consequences. I will talk about that. Okay, Luke, I can't see there at the moment. But that's quite possible because my concentration is forward. Julie, hi Michael, you told me in the past that you shouldn't meditate while lying down. I understand about having a straight spine for the energy and the risk of falling asleep, but if one is lying down, would there still be benefits due to the mind concentrating? Yes, I say exactly why I say don't do it. The traditions all say sit up to meditate. They do that. You can sit against a couch comfortably, lightly cross-legged. If you are injured or you've got some back problem, then you can lie down and you try and lift your legs up and over a big cushion, that kind of thing. And you do fall asleep if you're doing it properly. It's very hard to stay awake, I must admit. But, you know, if you can do it on some sort of angled bed if you're injured. But, yes, if you can concentrate, once you've meditated for a while, you might be able to do that. It's just that it's so much easier. It's something to do with the balance on the earth, with the body, the base of the body pressing against the earth and the head going up to the stars. There's something to do with the energetics in that area as well. But if you're exhausted, by all means lie down and concentrate on something, the breathing or something, until you've got the strength to actually sit up. Okay, that would be my advice. But get comfy if you're sitting up. Sit really comfortably, cushions under your knees if necessary, or feet on the floor, whichever way you go, but be very, very comfortable. Okay, I think that's it now. I think we've done it. We've done our dash now. Thank you very much for staying, and we will get together again soon. I hope you enjoy me doing these things, and I will do more of them for you. And I'd like to sort of get back to my once a week, at least, if I can do once a week, or maybe once a fortnight, but usually once a week I like to do them so that we can get cracking and reminding, because the sandpapering away of the negativity is really, really important. So thank you so much for coming, and I shall see you again on the next one, whatever that might be. We'll get on with that, and we're going to end the webinar now. So bye for now. All the best. See you.